for the last 5 or 6 weeks, and he's one of 2 changes for Bournemouth, so they line up with what we expect will be a 4-4-2 formation with Boruc, Daniels, Ake, Mepham and Smith across the back, Brooks, Lerma, Sermon and Fraser across the middle, with King and Wilson up front. Jefferson Lerma returning from a 2-match suspension. Huddersfield Town, well, they really have been beset by so many injuries, and the crisis for them really is continuing, with Siva himself admitting as we get underway that they have 8 players either injured or suspended, and they line up with Lörsel, and the back 4 is Bakuna, Durm, Jorgensen and Schneidler, the new skipper for Town until the end of the season, with Moy, Pritchard, Kachunga, Mounier and Billing making up the rest of the lineup. So 3 changes for them, with Jorgensen, Moy and Kachunga coming in. The £12 million summer signing Carlin Grant has dropped to the bench, but there's no Jonathan Hogg or Terence Congolo. As Huddersfield Town start this half, then kicking from left to right in their familiar home strip, with blue and white vertical stripes, white shorts and white socks, lifted forward down this right hand side by Jorgensen, out for a throw, nodded out by Nathan Ake. Yet to miss a game for Bournemouth since joining the club in June 2017, as Huddersfield tried to build on the right hand edge of the Bournemouth area, as Billing was slightly late with a challenge on Josh King. The first free kick of the afternoon, under 2 minutes gone. As I was saying, the conditions certainly more seasonal for this time of year. When I left my home in Yorkshire this morning, there was plenty of wind and rain, but thankfully that seems to have eased somewhat, although it is certainly much cooler than it has been in recent weeks. Bournemouth, and their familiar strip, the high ball over the top, looking for the run of Callum Wilson, but it was just overhit and straight through to Lörsel, scampering off his line quickly and just bowls it out towards Durm on the far side, and Schindler just forced to clear, gets it over the halfway line, but it's straight towards Adam Smith, takes no chances, all the way back to Artur Boruc, the second oldest keeper now in the Premier League, the 39-year-old Polish former international. Second oldest only to Julian Speroni at Crystal Palace. And wherever you're listening in the world, you can tweet us during the game at live at TalkSport Live. That's the place for your tweets wherever you're listening. Thanks for joining us today, as Jorgensen was a little lazy getting the ball back to Lörsel, and he's been punished because his pass back was rather wide for Lörsel to collect. He couldn't keep it in, and Huddersfield Town have given away a cheap corner in the opening 5 minutes. Fraser to take this. Mepham is up there, marked by Jorgensen, taken short. Drilled in by Fraser, the shot coming in, it was miscued though by Brooks, running in at pace. Brooks recently signing a new long-term deal with the Cherries earlier this week, and they're just forced to defend at the moment, but Adam Smith has time to clear and hooks the ball towards the halfway line on the far side. Smart turn by Brooks, cuts in, closed down by Billing, but his pass goes straight through to Jonas Lörsel. The £11.5 million signing from Sheffield United, David Brooks, has really made a very strong impression on Bournemouth. As now Town give the ball away into the area as Lerma tried to release King on the far side, but the pass was intercepted, and now Town sweep their way forward down this right hand side. In comes the cross. It's too far ahead of Mounier, but once again Huddersfield Town caught sleeping at the back. But for that interception on the edge of the area by Huddersfield Town, King may well have been in on the edge of the box with just the keeper to beat. Here's Daniels, wins the throw, making his 400th league appearance today. About 10 yards inside the Town half. As King as an option. Then Fraser runs across and collects, passes it back to Daniels, and they both exchange passes. The early ball in from Fraser, looking for the angled run of Brooks, scampering in from the right hand side, straight through to Jonas Lössl. He just picks out Pritchard with a skimming clearance right down the middle, lays the ball short towards Eric Durr, stops his run, has Moy as an option close by. The pass from Pritchard short towards Billy, falls back somewhat, then turns back on the far side towards Moy. Lovely back flick there, tries to find Moy again. He's just dispossessed though, but Town do win a throw. It came off Lerma, and now the free kick again goes for Town, says referee Anthony Taylor. As Durham took the quick throw, and it looked like Mepham just pushed Billing in the back just outside the area. So a first opportunity for Town to possibly fashion their first clear opportunity in this game between two sides really struggling for form. Moy will take this right-footed, swung in towards a packed 6-yard area, I would say. He's up against a two-man wall. Moy, arms down his sides, as Wilson just wants a word with Taylor, and we're ready to go. Moy swings the ball in straight towards Boric, who could have caught the ball but decided to fist the ball away. An unorthodox save in the circumstances, but then again it is something that many modern day goalkeepers would rather do in that situation. Throw by Huddersfield up inside the area, nodded away by King. The volley comes in and it goes well over the bar. I think it may well have been Durham with the effort left-footed. Just seeing that effort again from Moy, swung into the 6-yard area. Boric perhaps a little riskily fisted the ball away. Bakuna with the high throw, nodded on by Bakuna, but it drops behind Kuchunga, who tried to outfox Daniels with a back flick down the right hand side. And it just looked as though Stankovic caught one of the Bournemouth players rather late. Taylor, the referee, is happy for play to continue. Yet to see a real chance in this game so far between Huddersfield Town and Bournemouth on Premier League Live at the John Smith Stadium. Angled ball in, laid off by Mounier, now back with Pritchard, lays the ball square to Bakuna, 35 yards out, stops, has spot from Kuchunga, tries to turn away from Daniels, back now with Bakuna, gets the ball stuck between his feet, then lifts it forward, only straight onto the head of Lerma, and now King shrugs off Pritchard and tries to get away from Moy, then throws the ball forward to Pritchard, who's got King in the area, but it was just ahead of him, and it goes out for a goal kick to Huddersfield Town. But Bournemouth, as we know with the pace of Fraser, he's so dangerous, cutting forward, played in the ball low and hard in behind the Town defence, but it was just slightly overhit. And Town recover. The ball is missed by Mounier, but it almost falls towards Durham on the far side, only for Mepham to run across and kick the ball out for a throw. Halfway inside the Town half, down the left, coming up to 10 minutes, 0-0. Stankovic, the low pass towards Pritchard, tries to find Durham. Pritchard and Durham almost getting each other's way, then with a lovely turn of feet from Brooks, almost gets away from Moy, who pulls him down. Still inside the Bournemouth half. Gareth Southgate, the England manager, is in attendance this afternoon. Of course, we're coming up to the international break. I dare say it might be casting an eye on Callum Wilson, back from injury. Town defending in their own half. They have space to come forward through Jorgensen. Gets the ball over the halfway line as Bakuna comes in field. The signing from Groningen in Holland, who had quite an inauspicious start to his career at Huddersfield Town, scoring an own goal from 40 yards in a League Cup tie. Town building forward, still just inside their own half with Durham. Stops, short passing field towards Moy, one of three changes for Town. Infield towards Pritchard, swings the ball cross field, should land towards Bakuna after 2 or 3 bounces. Then he flies the ball in just beyond the penalty spot. It's over the head of Mounier and out for a goal kick to Bournemouth. But in the early stages, both sides looking to get on the front foot as quickly as they can. In fact, it's the 50th league appearance between these two sides. It's Ake. Almost gave the ball away, but fortunately for him, Bournemouth do have a throw, level with their own 18-yard line. Daniels just almost having a quizzical look towards the assistant referee at this near side before taking the throw. Bournemouth build just ahead of their own 18-yard line through Mepham towards Adam Smith with a slightly hurried clearance straight towards Schindler, and he finds Lursel. So as I was saying, 50th league appearance between the two sides. Town winning 17 of those, just 2 more than Bournemouth. Moy inside the centre circle, bending the ball out towards his right hand side, finds Bakuna up against Daniels, short ball in towards Pritchard, edge of the area, spins and turns, but it's over the bar. Still 0-0 between Huddersfield Town and Bournemouth, but Pritchard did really well just on the edge of the box, turn and shoot, right footed over the bar, slightly off balance, but well over the bar all the same. 13 minutes gone. Jan Sievert then with his 7th game in charge since taking over from David Wagner. Ball just drops on the halfway line as Bournemouth press forward towards Fraser with the cushion volley towards Callum Wilson. Callum Wilson shoots! It's straight up Lursel low. Now with Brooks on the edge of the area, it goes down. Will it be a free kick? No, says the referee. Callum Wilson though with the first chance. Well blocked though by Lursel. Here come Bournemouth again in their red and black vertical striped shirts and black shorts. As Fraser threaded the ball through towards Wilson, cutting in from the right hand side, first time shot blocked by the legs of Lursel. The first real chance in this game. coming up to 15 minutes. As Fraser falls on his backside, he was expecting a free kick. Taylor, the referee, is having none of it though. As the sun beats down then on the John Smith Stadium. High ball forward from Nathan Ake. Tracking back though was Schindler, straight towards Jorgensen. Lovely layup towards Pritchard. Pokes the ball forward towards Mounier. Now back with Kachunga up against Ake. Steps in from the right hand side towards Pritchard. Bends the ball in. It's too short though for Mounier. And Bournemouth do clear towards King. Lays the ball off to Adam Smith. In ball. Infield. Finds King again. He's got Wilson in the middle. But Town recover inside their own half with Durham. Lifts the ball down the line. Neat layup by Mounier, and now he's released by Pritchard, but the pass from the former Norwich City player was just slightly overhit, and Pritchard just slapped his thigh because the idea was right and the crowd acknowledged that too. Mounier would have had the chance to get away from the Bournemouth defence down the left hand side, but as it is, Bournemouth have a throw level with their own 18-yard line, taken by Smith, chested down by Stojkovic towards Moy. Mounier battling for the ball with Lerma, loses out now with King bursting forward. He's got Fraser to his right, but the pass was well ahead of the young Scot, straight through to Lerzel. Town again press forward. Kachunga back in the side today towards Bakuna. Infield exchanges passes with Stankovic. 0-0 on Premier League Live with Bernard Chizzy at the John Smith Stadium. 0-0 between Huddersfield Town and Bournemouth. Bournemouth coming into this game having lost their last 9 Premier League games away from home, as Kachunga doesn't quite get away from Daniels, but it's with Stankovic. Bends the ball in towards Mounier inside the area as Mounier tried to burst his way through as it was headed upwards, but Boric was there to react quickly. Pulls the ball out, but Brooks gives the ball away towards Billing. Now Pritchard has Moy as an option down the left hand side. First time cross, charged down by Adam Smith on the far side. Town win a throw. Of course, we should remember that Town won their last home match against Wolves, with Mounier scoring an injury time winner. Moy thought about the cross, changes his mind, flicks the ball forward towards Durham, controls it on his knee, bursts into the area, and Lerma tried to clear, then he's knocked to the ground, flying forwards, and Durham trying to win the ball back, concedes a free kick. Lerma back in the side after a 2-match suspension. As Jan Servet is just busy gesticulating on the edge of the technical area. Cleared long by Boric down the right hand side, not in field by Callum Wilson. Well, it goes straight towards Lerzel, plays it short, finds Jorgensen. Bakuna picks up the loose ball, gets the ball between Mepham and Daniels, has it again, tries to poke the ball down the line, but Kachunga didn't anticipate it, and Bournemouth playing neat football just on the edge of their own area, trying to get themselves out of trouble with Daniels. Angled ball, finds Brooks, neat first time layup, finds Fraser, back to Brooks, running up the heart of the Town defence, back through to Fraser, left hand side of the box, could he shoot? He does! But it's across the face of goal towards Callum Wilson, who, back after injury, scores for Bournemouth. They have opened the lead in the 20th minute. Huddersfield Town 0, Bournemouth 1. ball down the left-hand side. Brooks and Fraser exchanging passes. For a moment I thought Fraser would go for goal himself, possibly shooting from a tight angle as it burst in, but he saw the run of Callum Wilson, and if anything, he chested the ball into the net at the far post to give Bournemouth the lead. The leading scorer for Bournemouth, and he has now grabbed his 50th goal playing for Bournemouth, and his 12th this season. And I'm sure Gareth Southgate will have taken great encouragement to see Callum Wilson not only back playing for Bournemouth, but reacting so well to that chance, which has given Bournemouth the lead. Huddersfield Town could be in further trouble now as they give the ball away. Here's King down the right hand side, up against Durham, gets the ball back towards Lerma, lets the ball run across his body. Now with Sherman, spins as Bournemouth retreat slightly, but they are still inside the Town half, with Fraser creating that wonderful chance for Wilson, as Daniels does well to get away from Kachunga, headed upwards by Morganson inside the area. It looked as though he was holding Wilson. Wilson didn't react, but he has won a corner for Bournemouth all the same. So Bournemouth with a corner down this left-hand side. Fraser carefully planting the ball down. Brooks inside the area, so he's Sermon making a run towards the near post. In it comes now, fisted away by Lursel. Does really well to clear the ball, well outside the area. But Adam Smith picks up again with Fraser down the left-hand side. The cross is Bakuna. As his clearance cannons off Bournemouth player. Jorgensen in the area was clearly grappling with Wilson. It was overlooked by Taylor. Town then coming forward, a familiar scenario for them at the John Smith Stadium. They've already lost 11 games in the Premier League here this season. It's the worst in the top flight, and even more worrying for Huddersfield Town in the Premier League. They've yet to come back from behind to win a match. Ominous signs already for the home side, losing 1-0 coming up to the halfway point in the first half. The best two chances of the game have fallen for Bournemouth, and they've converted one of them. Callum Wilson chesting in at the far post, converting a low cross from Ryan Fraser as Pritchard tries to get in behind the defence with an outstretched leg, but it's picked up by Smith. Pokes it towards the halfway line. Lovely turn by Josh King, then goes down, almost flying over the leg of Stankovic. Wins a free kick for the Cherries. Janseven looking very thoughtful, arms behind his back. Bournemouth playing the ball back into their own half. So now they try to come forward. The ball runs loose. Town collect, come forward now with Jorgensen. Short pass towards Bakuna. Thought about the forward pass, but goes backwards instead. Back to Jorgensen and Bakuna. closed down by Fraser, gets it over the halfway line towards Pritchard with a neat turn, gets it infield towards Moy. Moy will find space on the far side with Durham. Then with a couple of touches, gets it back to Moy on the edge of the area. The pass is slightly behind Kachunga outside the area, wasn't sure where to turn, then slipped up against Daniels, back towards Bakuna. Town having the ball but not really playing with any pace, but they have a throw. They almost seemed to hesitate as they were approaching the box, but they have possession again. Working the ball infield this time towards Stankovic, the Slovenian, lifts it forward, good pass towards Mounier, the early cross in, straight towards Boric, unchallenged, inside the 6-yard box. Mounier only had Kachunga to aim for, but it was easily dealt with by the Polish goalkeeper. All in green, clears, doesn't quite reach the halfway line. Billing battles for the ball in the air, gets beyond Sermon, picks up again as Kachunga as an option, goes infield instead, finds Moy in a central position. Durham is out towards his left, now with Billing 30 yards out as Bakuna makes himself available, has space. His early cross though is put out by Ryan Fraser, coming up to 26 minutes on Premier League Live. Huddersfield Town 0, Bournemouth 1. As the home fans build up some noise, Town with their first corner then. So the referee has just possibly seen something inside the area involving Mepham possibly. Pritchard just walks towards Jorgensen and whispers something in his ear. He's swung away from goal. Cleared though by Lerma. Miscued volley from Bakuna. Picks up again, but he's adjudged to have nudged Brooks as he was trying to make his way from the Bournemouth penalty area. And that particular set piece for Town comes to absolutely nothing. Well, that move for Bournemouth, which led to the goal, was pretty much orchestrated entirely down the left-hand side between Brooks and Fraser before Wilson applied the clinical touch with his chest, bombing in at the far post. That is the difference between the sides. Bournemouth again coming forward, lying 12th at the moment on 34 points. So you would think 2 more wins would guarantee safety for them again in the top flight. Mepham, poor ball, straight towards Stankovic. Now, down the middle, Billing running forward, he's got Mounier to his left. His pass though was slightly cut out, still finds Mounier, but the pass from Mounier was behind Billing. And Bournemouth now on the counter with Fraser. Inside the centre circle, checks his run, plays it short towards Brooks, back towards Fraser, 30 yards from goal now. Plays it back, wasn't enough for him going forward. Daniels, low ball towards Fraser again, lovely ball towards Daniels inside the area. The cross was blocked though by Jorgensen. Certainly, most of the moves for Bournemouth seem to be coming down this left-hand side. Bournemouth then with their 3rd corner, coming up to half an hour then. Callum Wilson scoring the goal for Bournemouth after 19 minutes. Mepham, Cernam inside the area. Aki is there as well, swinging by Fraser. It bounces inside the 6-yard box, cleared though by Durham. Back out towards Fraser, down the left-hand side. Sermon looks for support, spins, finds Daniels, lifts the ball towards the far post. It's too high though for King as the ball runs away from the penalty box. Brooks with a backflip, tries to get away from Stankovic. But Bournemouth do win a throw. They are the ones applying the pressure, leading by 1-0 at the John Smith Stadium. As Bournemouth once again win another throw. Finds Wilson inside the box, closely marked by Jorgensen, as Wilson managed to get the ball behind Jorgensen, but the defender clears. Pritchard juggling with the ball, then he's knocked to the ground by Nathan Ake, and Pritchard wants to take it quickly, but it only goes short towards Moy, back towards Pritchard. He's looked lively during this game so far. Durham almost level the 18-yard line towards Pritchard. First ball in, it cannons off Sermon, who was diving forward. And his interception went straight through towards Boric, who's yet to make a save in this game, although he was called into action with that early free kick from Aaron Moy, which required him to double fist the ball away. Lursel, on the other hand, made a vital interception to deny Wilson before the opening goal. Town besieged by injuries and suspensions, propping the town. The ball runs behind Pritchard, but he continues his run, and it was Mounier who was trying to find Pritchard. The pass was well overhit. It goes out for a goal kick as Sievert sits down and takes 2 or 3 swigs of water, much to contemplate during this first half performance. Still, the John Smith Stadium bathed in bright sunshine. It's Pritchard tries to gee up his players, clapping his hands, wins possession now. And the inside right, the ball comes in as Boric anticipated the flight of the ball. Came at least 9 or 10 yards off his line to gather. Bournemouth then coming into this game with just one win in their last 5, and an impressive one all the same against Chelsea. They have some defending to do with Billy. Towards Bakuna, swung in, it's really poor though, left-footed. Must have been at least 10 or 15 yards above the head of Mounier inside the area. And Tanner just not connecting at all in these attacking positions, whether they come down the left or the right. The delivery has been, in all honesty, pretty abysmal from Huddersfield Town. They're doing nothing to threaten Bournemouth whatsoever. And at the moment, the away side deserve that slender lead that they have. As Stankovic goes down, he's clutching the bottom of his bag following a collision with Callum Wilson, and I think it was just the way Stankovic landed more than the foul itself. Possibly winded himself. He's back now on his feet, playing in a defensive midfield role today. Bournemouth then with just over 11 minutes to go in this first half, leading 1-0, have this free kick 35 yards out. Town with a highish line just beyond the D, defending this set piece. Daniels, he stood over the ball. So is Fraser. Fraser will clip the ball in. It's well beyond though. 3 Bournemouth players, Ake, Wilson, the 2 of them, as now Town press forward. Could Bournemouth be exposed? Now with Mounier, oh, that's just so poor. He's crossing with no pressure whatsoever, just drifts and lands onto the roof of the net. And from that promising position as Mounier Almost head slightly bowed. Looks really disappointed with himself, because at least he should have got the ball inside the area. Get that cursory glance just to set up the chance, hurtling away down that right hand side. Got away from Lerma, but actually crossed the ball well off balance. Trying to make their way forward now. The early pass from Smith. Town are able to cut the ball out through Stankovic. Ball takes a slight deflection, bobbles upwards and rolls out of play for a Town throw, which Mounier wanted to take quickly, then slams the ball down in frustration because he had no one to throw the ball to, and leaves it for Durm. Eric Durm never scored for Huddersfield Town. He's thrown down the line, doesn't quite find Mounier, but Town will settle for another throw, another 10 or 15 yards further down the left hand side. Mounier just running back towards his own halfway line, closely tracked by a couple of Bournemouth players. It's Town take a throw just inside their own half, trailing by 1-0. A win for them could possibly bring them off the foot of the table. The long pass forward this time from Billing almost found Durm, and that was warmly acknowledged and gets the thumbs up from the player who joined Town on a free from Borussia Dortmund. Eric Durm had quite a torrid time last season with injury, but that time the quicker pass almost undid the Bournemouth defence. It's now in a very congested space down the left-hand side for Town. They win a throw. They've won 4 of 5. Down the far side of the field, Moy with a neat layup almost finds Pritchard. The ball runs loose towards Lerma, who gets the ball now out towards King. His pass across field, runs slightly behind Fraser, but now he runs forward over the halfway line, back towards King, up against Stankovic. Fraser was brought down. The referee initially thought about the advantage, and this could be a booking for Kachunga. So it was actually Kachunga holding back Fraser after he was trying to release Daniels, I think it might have been, down this left-hand side, as Stankovic and King almost square up to each other as well, and Daniels has to break them apart. So Kachunga has been booked for that foul on Fraser. So referee just has a couple of things to sort out here. Just bringing over Josh King and Bakuna for a chat, telling them both in no uncertain terms to cut things out. So Bournemouth are still going to have this free kick to take. Less than 7 minutes to go before half-time. Don't forget, wherever you're listening to us, tweet us at TalkSport Live. Don't forget, the best way to look ahead to a Premier League weekend is to subscribe to TalkSport's Premier League Preview Show podcast, which is out every Thursday. Fraser whips the ball and it's short-headed upwards though by Billing. Running back towards Lerma, who tries to hoof the ball towards the edge of the area. Town can deal with that easily enough. Here's Billing. Early ball though, cut out by Adam Smith in the right back position, back with Town. Already losing 11 times this season, and should they lose this game, they would actually equal a club record for the most home defeats in a league season. And That goes back 31 years. Pritchard almost picks up a neat layoff, allows it to run towards Kachunga, at least 30 yards out in their central position. Finds Bakuna, now steps inside the box, bends it in. The header from Sermon just does enough to clear for Bournemouth, and Daniels clears first time. Straight onto the chest of Stankovic, brings it down, looks around, has Bakuna to his right. Bakuna swings the ball in, skids in low, cleared by Ake first time. Fraser gets it only as far as Billy down the Bournemouth left, and it will be a throw then for the away side. Colin Grant, the £12 million signing from Charlton, having to sit on the bench, at least for the time being. Bournemouth streaming forward with Brooks. Lifts the ball beautifully towards Josh King on this near side. Struck it first time on the volley, right-footed, but he screws it wide. Still, Huddersfield Town 0, Bournemouth 1. King just had a little more time possibly to bring the ball under control, inviting other players to join him inside the box, but he went for the spectacular effort instead. But it was anything but spectacular. Less than 4 minutes to go. Bournemouth, even though it is just the one goal, have looked relatively comfortable during the first half. Brooks having a fine game, lays the ball off towards Smith, who wanted to continue the run down the right hand side, but he runs it out of play and then goes down just inside the playing area as Andre Mariner, the fourth referee, is actually telling Smith, well, you came back on the field to go back down. So there's going to be a stoppage in play here. And clearly Smith, just wondering, he just felt the back of his hamstring continuing his run. Clearly looked towards the bench as he pulled up, making that run. Is now led on his flat inside the playing area. Anthony Taylor is basically telling the physio and Smith to get off the pitch unless you're okay to continue. Smith still walking around, he's almost caught in two minds, trying to decide whether or not he's fit enough to continue. Andre Mariner says, come here, get off the pitch. And eventually he does. And now Smith is unhappy with Mariner, so after that exchange, Smith is finally off. That might be the end of the afternoon for Adam Smith, because Nathaniel Klein is stripping off. So in all that confusion and mayhem, Bournemouth are going to make an enforced change. Play finally continues. With Meppen backtracking, nods it only towards Moore. Halfway inside the Bournemouth half with Durham up against King, gets the ball into the area, nodding away, stooping headed clearance by Nathan Ake. Moy spins 360 degrees towards Pritchard, now with Durham with a couple of touches, puts his foot on the ball, has Moy as an option, plays it short, now with Pritchard running round the back, threads the ball in from the left hand side, lovely turn from Callum Wilson, almost gets away from Stankovic, hits the ball down the line, but it goes straight out of play. So here comes that enforced change I was telling you about, and it's going to be Smith coming off just before half time, pulling up with what looked like a hamstring injury. So Nathaniel Klein, the player on loan from Liverpool until the end of the season, taking his place, made his 300th appearance playing against Manchester City last week, so that should be straightforward switch at the back for Eddie Howe. It's Tau, build forward, ball in field from Bakuna, slightly behind Kachunga. As Bournemouth poke the ball clear through Brooks. Less than a minute to go, with Bournemouth leading by 1-0. Callum Wilson scoring after 19 minutes, chesting in at the far post following a fantastic cross from Fraser. Tau, could they create that elusive chance that they've yet to make? Bournemouth trying to break, give the ball away inside the centre circle. Schindler under a little pressure. 2 minutes of added time to go. The reverse pass from Stankovic is a really poor one now as Bournemouth stream forward with Brooks, almost picks out what would have been King, but it's towards Lerma. Tries to lift the ball in. Charged down though by Stankovic. And now Moy racing over the halfway line. Mounier to his left, picks him up now as Kachunga runs inside the box. Town only have one player up there at the moment though. Moy delays his cross, then plays it crossfield towards Bakuna. Town still taking so much time. The high ball in from Bakuna, it's over the head of Mounier, and it bounces ever so harmlessly through to Boric, who just flops on top of the ball and says thank you very much. Now into the first minute of added time. Boric looks as though he might clear long, and does. Right-footed, skims it straight towards Stankovic. Now Jorgensen drills the ball low over the halfway line, finds Pritchard, arguably Town's best player, darting around from left to right, goes down, battling for the ball with Daniels. The Town fans aren't happy. They were expecting a free kick for the home side. Turned by Fraser, goes down. He's clipped from behind by Bakuna. Bakuna, let's just say, he's not best pleased. Fraser really has been a handful. Not for the first time, I hasten to add, in the Premier League this season. And that will just eat up a few more seconds at the end of the first half. The first half which has been pretty comfortable for Bournemouth, and that is half-time. So the side, on the back of 9 successive Premier League defeats away from home, are leading 1-0 at half-time, thanks to Callum Wilson's goal, chesting in from close range on his comeback for the side. That's his 50th goal for Bournemouth, and they lead at half-time at the John Smith Stadium. It's Huddersfield Town 0, Bournemouth 1. And now let's go to the half-time show from St Mary's with John Anderson and Dave Kitson.
League preview show with Talk Sport.
Sanchez wants runners. There's 6 players on the edge of the area to aim for. One is Smalling! Unbelievable scenes at the Etihad Stadium. It's 3-2 to Manchester United.
Talk Sport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
Southampton struggling down the bottom. We're joined by a survivor of their great escape team in 1999, Francis Bernali. Former Bluebirds defender Danny Gabidon joins us on the Premier League preview show.
Subscribe to the podcast today at talksport.com, and then hear every kick on Premier League Live.
Oxlade-Chamberlain goes down, but he still finds Salah, who makes it 2 to Liverpool. 1 chance, 1 goal, number 20 for the Egyptian magician.
Listen to the show on talksport.com.
Go to talksport.com and sign up now to play the free TalkSport Predictor game. Predict the results of the English Premier League games this season for the chance to win top-flight weekly prizes. From the Gunners getting away goals at Anfield to epic finishes at the Etihad. Click talksport.com/predictor and register now for the chance to go top of the table in the ultimate football fan tournament. The TalkSport English Premier League Predictor game. Available online and for free at talksport.com/predictor.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
A line of bodies along the edge of the 6-yard box. Ericsson just rifles it in, and Harry Kane is there to head in almost on the goal line. More Premier League goals in a calendar year than any other player in history.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates, ask in-game questions to our commentary team, and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Edge of the box is Solanke. Through to Mo Salah! Who scores? Number 32! Mo Salah, the record breaker for Liverpool!
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league. Premier League Live. Brought to you by TalkSport Live.
There's more to life than football, money and fun. Well, not much.
Kick off the new season with TalkSport's £1 million Predictor game.
Register now at talksport.com/predictor and play for free throughout the season.
Play it in the van. Play it on the can. Play it with your gran.
Win £1 million sterling.
It's the biggest prize in the history of TalkSport.
The TalkSport £1 million Predictor game. Players must be 18 or over. See talksport.com/predictor for full conditions.
Welcome back. Spurs leading by 1-0 and deservedly so at St Mary's. Let's reflect on the opening 45 minutes, not just here, but right across the country in the Premier League.
Camarasa up to the edge of the penalty area, offloads it right side to Murphy. Good ball. First time cross coming in from Murphy. It's turned in at the near post by Junior Hoylett to give Cardiff City a 4th-minute lead.
Ball just drops on the halfway line as Bournemouth press forward towards Fraser with the cushion volley towards Callum Wilson. Callum Wilson shoots! It's straight up there so long.
The throw from Kenny is given away by Richarlison. It's hooked away by Newcastle. Great work though as it's played back in by Bernard to Digne. Digne with a cross. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is 1-0. Well, that was so simple.
Fraser back to Brooks, running up the heart of the town defence. Back through to Fraser, left-hand side of the box. Could he shoot? He does! But it's across the face of goal towards Callum Wilson, who, back after injury, scores for Bournemouth.
Another through ball. Oh, Peter Vardy through, easier. Space, knocked around the goalkeeper. If it falls to Tielemans and just taps it into the goal. That was so easy. I couldn't believe what I was watching there.
Here's Dele Alli. Can he score on his return or can he set one up? Kane controls and scores! Dele Alli and Harry Kane combining.
Richie stares at the ball, addresses the ball, comes up to the ball, stutters, drills it, saved by Pickford with his legs as he dived away to his left-hand side. His legs saved him. Gomez, edge of the box, breaks into the box, gets to the dead ball line, flies it low, cross, tap in, it's 2-0. Richarlison.
Well, there you are. All the goals and all the half-time action in the Premier League today, all of which really is conspiring at the moment against Southampton, because if Cardiff win, they will be 17th and out of the bottom three with 28 points. Southampton would drop down into that relegation zone with 27. Newcastle losing currently at home to Everton and having missed a penalty, not out of danger yet. They only have 31 points. Brighton winners against Crystal Palace, a huge win for them at the moment. As it stands, they would be 6 points away from the relegation zone. Burnley, of course, play tomorrow, but they're at Liverpool, so you would expect Burnley to lose, which means that Southampton, Cardiff, Burnley and Newcastle potentially could end today all separated by only 4 points. And I would suggest, Dave, that the half-time speech from Ralph Hasenhüttl is probably a good deal more passionate, desperate and imploring than the one of Maurizio Pochettino at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, there is going to come a point in this game where Southampton not throw caution to the wind exactly, but certainly get a little bit further up the pitch and take a little bit more chance. I mean, Charlie Austin is for all intents and purposes, playing as a midfielder, dropping in and trying to restrict Spurs. But Spurs are just too good. They just play round Southampton, so it's difficult to see what they can do unless they start taking a risk.
Yeah. Tottenham Hotspur, I mean, they, as you said, they've got quality on the bench. Son, Lamela, Wanyama, Llorente, Ben Davis, all quality players. At what point does Pochettino think about changing it? Presumably the Tottenham plan will be try and get a goal early in the second half, kill the game off, and then maybe we can change things around a bit.
Yeah, they'd love a second goal. The earlier the better, really. But, you know, there's certainly at the moment it's very, very comfortable for Spurs. And the thing with this bench is that they can change it any way they like. If they find themselves in a little bit of distress, they've got Lamela and Son that they can put on, Llorente if they need a second striker. And if they want to hold on to what they have, 1 or 2-0, you have Wanyama there, Foyth, Davis. It's a very balanced bench, so there's nothing really to panic about for Spurs at the moment, but I just think it's more of the same. I certainly think, given how deep Southampton are, and Angus Gunn to me looks a little bit cagey, I think they're going to go for it and try and get the second as early as they can.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. We've got the second half coming up, but just a reminder that Southampton's home form is so poor. It's the third worst in the Premier League. They've only got 15 points at St Mary's. They need to improve that, and as we speak, I'm sure Ralph Hasenhüttl is trying to lift his troops. They haven't had an effort on target at all in the first half. They came closest, and it wasn't very close, from Nathan Redmond's long shot. As you said, throwing caution to the wind is never a great tactic, but desperate times call for desperate measures, don't they?
Yeah, and look, if it's 1-0 with sort of 10, 15, 20 minutes left, you may as well lose too, because at this stage of the season, a point for Southampton, certainly given how it's going elsewhere as well. You know, Newcastle are now a 2-0 down to Everton, they're being dragged in, and Cardiff are winning. A goal for Southampton would be absolutely massive.
Yeah, it certainly would. Just to go through the results elsewhere, latest scores, I should say, at the interval elsewhere. Cardiff 1, West Ham United 0. Junior Hoylett's goal in the 4th minute. Neil Warnock's team have defended it thus far. Huddersfield Town 0, Bournemouth 1. That'll be another nail in Huddersfield's coffin. Callum Wilson back from injury and back on target for then Jurgen Tielemans. I think that's his first goal for Leicester City, is it? He's scored at the King Power Stadium. Fulham, another team seemingly consigned to oblivion, are losing. Newcastle 0, Everton 2. So some interesting results and some big 45 minutes ahead, particularly for the teams down the bottom of the table. We're back with the second 45 minutes at St Mary's in just a moment. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Premier League preview show with Talk Sport.
Sanchez wants runners. There's 6 players on the edge of the area to aim for. One is Smalling! Unbelievable scenes at the Etihad Stadium. It's 3-2 to Manchester United.
Talk Sport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
Southampton struggling down the bottom. We're joined by a survivor of their great escape team in 1999, Francis Bernali. Former Bluebirds defender Danny Gavidan joins us on the Premier League preview show.
Subscribe to the podcast today at talksport.com and then hear every kick on Premier League Live.
Oxlade-Chamberlain goes down, but he still finds Salah, who makes it 2 to Liverpool. 1 chance, 1 goal, number 20 for the Egyptian magician.
Listen to the show on talksport.com.
Go to talksport.com and sign up now to play the free TalkSport Predictor game. Predict the results of the English Premier League games this season for the chance to win top-flight weekly prizes. From the Gunners getting away goals at Anfield to epic finishes at the Etihad. Click talksport.com/predictor and register now for the chance to go top of the table in the ultimate football fan tournament. The TalkSport English Premier League Predictor game. Available online and for free at talksport.com/predictor.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
A line of bodies along the edge of the 6-yard box. Ericsson just rifles it in, and Harry Kane is there to head in almost on the goal line. More Premier League goals in a calendar year than any other player in history.
every game is covered. Get involved in debates, ask in-game questions to our commentary team, and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Edge of the box is Solanke. Through to Mo Salah! Who scores? Number 32! Mo Salah, the record breaker for Liverpool!
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league. Premier League Live. Brought to you by TalkSport Live.
There's more to life than football, money and fun. Well, not much.
Kick off the new season with TalkSport's £1 million Predictor game.
Register now at talksport.com/predictor and play for free throughout the season.
Play it in the van. Play it on the can. Play it with your gran.
Win £1 million sterling.
It's the biggest prize in the history of TalkSport.
The TalkSport £1 million Predictor game. Players must be 18 or over. See talksport.com/predictor for full conditions.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Southampton against Tottenham Hotspur from St Mary's. I'm your host, John Anderson. Alongside me is the former Stoke and Portsmouth striker, Dave Kidson. This is Premier League Live. We're still waiting for the appearance of the two teams for this second half, but it will have been an uncomfortable period queuing for tea and beer and Bovril, etc. for the Southampton fans who will be well aware of the scoreline from the Cardiff City Stadium as their team trot out for the second half. Tottenham Hotspur, of course, have matters of their own to address, and we're going to see Shane Long coming on as a substitute any moment for Southampton. So Ralph Hasenhüttl, and in fact there are two Southampton substitutes ready to come on, so it's going to be a double switch by Ralph Hasenhüttl. I think Josh Sims, who we haven't seen at all this season, is the other player who's coming on. We'll let you know who they are replacing in just a moment when the board goes up. Shane Long is on, and he has replaced Oriol Romeu, so that's an attacker for a defensive midfield player. Josh Sims is a wide player himself, wearing number 39, and we're just waiting to see who he will come on for. Well, Sims is 21 years old. He's an England under-20 international, had a loan spell at Reading between August and January this season, made 18 appearances for them, has been recalled by Southampton, and he is on for the second half. So not only a double substitution, but a bit of a surprise in terms of the fact that it's not perhaps Shane Long, but Josh Sims, who has come on for Charlie Austin. So, well, I suppose it's Long for Austin and Sims for Romeu, although the board was held up with the numbers side by side of Long and Romeu. So big switch for Southampton as they try and attack early in the half, and here is Josh Sims, who immediately shoots.
And welcome back to the John Smith Stadium, Huddersfield Town against Bournemouth then. You're listening to Talk Sports coverage. I'm your host, Bernard Chising, and you're listening to Premier League Live as we get underway for the second half. And the early news to give you before I give you the lineups is that Huddersfield Town have made a change at half-time, with Chris Lowe replacing Eric Derb. So that may well be a like-for-like switch at left back for Huddersfield Town, as Fraser, so impressive in the first half, drills in a cross towards the near post, but it was gathered by Lurzel. So as Town tried to come forward now, the pass from Moy might just pick out Kachunga, looking for the first time cross, but I think the flag has got up beside here. Yes, the offside flag has got up right next to him, and he's absolutely well, he was a little livid with the decision, let's just say, at first. So I think that's an opportune time for me just to run through the lineups then, starting with Huddersfield Town, with Jan Sievert just shaking things up in the back four. So they now line up with Lösel, and then across the back low, Jorgensen, Schindler, Bakuna, and then across the middle, Stankovic, Moy, Pritchard and Billing. They make up the midfield with Kachunga and Mounier, the front two. As Bournemouth pile forward with Brooks, but it's given away. I'll give you the Bournemouth lineup very shortly. Now with Pritchard, who I certainly thought was by far the best player for Town in the first half. Now switched up towards this near side with Lowe with his first chance. Crosses in into the 6-yard area, prodded away though by Daniels, and Sermon with the composed clearance inside his own area. But a much better start to the second half for Huddersfield Town. Sievert out, clenching his fist, urging his players on, but that was a cross from Lowe, stabbed away. It was just beyond the head of Kachunga running in at the near post. So Town have that one change. Bournemouth have also made a change themselves with Nathaniel Klein coming in for Adam Smith at the back. So they line up with Burridge, Klein, Mepham, Ake and Daniels across the back. Fraser, Sermon, Lerma and Brooks, with King and the goal scorer Callum Wilson up front. Just early tentative shoots that Town are looking to get back into this game. Prodded away by Mepham, helped up by Lerma. Now with Brooks, tries to get away from Bakuna, then picks up the return ball from Fraser. But Town retrieve again with Stankovic. Short ball towards Moy. Tries to put the ball through the legs of Daniels. Might just reach Pritchard. Pritchard gets a lucky break of the ball. Now at the byline. Cuts the ball back to Moy. Inside the area. Squares it towards Lowe. But he's blocked by Bournemouth, who just get the ball away through Lerma. Much, much better from Town at the start of the second half. Playing quicker, forcing Bournemouth on the back foot. But here's Fraser, gets a bit of a nudge in the back from Moy, which is enough to win a free kick. And you might just be able to hear the reaction from the Huddersfield Town fans, who at the start of the second half are much happier with the response from their players. First time ball forward by Lerma, straight through to King. It's got Wilson. He tries to fight Wilson, but it's cut out by Town. Should he have gone for goal himself? It was Jorgensen with the vital clearance at the back for Huddersfield Town. He had the option to go for goal himself, albeit from a tight angle. He tried to play the ball across for Wilson, no more than 10 yards out, but in his way was Jorgensen. And he clears for a corner. And it will be the fourth of the game for Bournemouth, and the first of the second half. Bournemouth bringing up both Ake and Mepham as they run towards the near post. It's drilled in low towards the edge of the area, finding King, forced outside the area now towards Lerma. Short ball, Nathaniel Klein swings the ball away from goal, and it's headed away by Kachunga, which, if anything, looked like he was trying to score. It's quite bizarre, really. Almost a hush fell around the John Smith Stadium. So another corner for Bournemouth, as Fraser just removes a few blades of grass, takes 3 or 4 steps back and raises one arm, bends the ball in, right into the 6-yard area. It's gathered by Lösel, who drops it. The whistle goes. It's going to be a free kick for Town. Once again, it was a very good corner coming in from Fraser, but clearly Mepham went into the back of Jonas Lösel. There's a few boos come out from some of the Town fans. Play finally gets underway. Brooks battling for a bouncing ball towards Low. Tries to release Mounier. Straight through though it goes to Artur Boruc. Now with Fraser with an intelligent ball, lifting it over a couple of Town players. Finds Wilson. He's got Josh King stood on the 18-yard line. A back flick from Fraser. Almost worked. As he turns away with a wry smile, looking towards Wilson. The Town win a throw inside their own half. So with just 9 games to go, Huddersfield Town are 13 points from safety. Jan Sievert said they were still fighting, although I'm not sure if he actually meant they were still fighting for survival or if they were just fighting to end the season with some credibility. But if they are going to win this game, they'll have to do it the hard way because of that goal from Callum Wilson, as we just see another stoppage in play with Ryan Fraser going down. Pritchard slightly late with the challenge. Fraser's okay. And so are Bournemouth with that 1-goal lead, but of course things can suddenly change. The signs at the start of the half were promising for Town, as now they harry Bournemouth, who give the ball away with Bakuna on the edge of the area, turns neatly away from Sermon, but then he was up against Mepham, who pickpockets him and then runs up to the halfway line, lifts a beautiful pass right to the far side, finds King, who drills the ball in. It almost reaches Wilson. It runs behind him though, picks up now on the right hand edge of the area, rolls it casually towards Klein. Klein short to this right hand side, finds Brooks, gets it between Low just does enough, nicks the ball away towards Klein. Now with Fraser with a neat layoff to Brooks, tries to cut infield Moy stands up to him well and wins possession, as Mounier forced right back into his own half. Low drilling the ball crossfield out towards the far side, finds Durham charging forward, cutting in from the right hand side. He's got Kachunga running inside the box. Now with Mounier bursting his way through. Town looking for a foul. The felt as though Pritchard was brought down on the edge of the D. Play continues though. Town enjoying another spell of decent possession during the second half, building down the right hand side, only for Daniels to spin and turn. Clears left footed for a throw. Just seeing a replay of the tackle from Ake on Pritchard, which was actually right on the 18-yard line, and I have to say, looking at that again, it looked a very, very close call. But Anthony Taylor didn't think there was anything wrong with it at all. Pritchard drops short, spins just inside the Bournemouth half. Pass slightly too short for Moy, battling for the ball, doesn't quite get it though, and Fraser again in the wars, goes down under another late challenge, and Stankovic is booked, the second booking for Huddersfield Town. And Ryan Fraser really has been a marked man at times during this game, as Schindler and Mepham come across to have a few words with each other. No doubt at all about the challenge. It deserved to be booked. Stankovic very late coming in on Ryan Fraser. 56 minutes gone. And apart from the Aaron Moy cross, which may well have been meant as a shot, is the only piece of action which has actually tested Arte Boroc in the entire game. And Anthony Taylor was well positioned to make that call on whether Huddersfield Town should have won a penalty. Pritchard going down on the 18-yard line. Fraser is back on his feet, but he's hobbling badly. Walking off with the physio now. But it looks like he's going to be okay. Eddie Howe still very close to him. In fact, they're having something of a conversation at the moment. But I do expect Ryan Fraser to step back on, and he just has. The former Aberdeen player having such a great season for Bournemouth, starting or at least playing in every single game in the Premier League this season. Daniels fights for the ball but loses out. Now Kachunga bursting his way forward down the right hand side, infield towards Pritchard, drills it low and hard towards Lowe. Now outside the area, bends the ball in, a flying header from Lerma. Falls for Pritchard, the first time shot from Meunier, Bakuna in fact, goes well wide. Still Huddersfield Town 0, Bournemouth 1 on Premier League Live. But certainly Lowe has certainly made an impact with his marauding runs down the left-hand side for Huddersfield Town, and he certainly has injected a bit of life into Town, at least adding some potency. Ake clears, just happy to get the ball back inside the Huddersfield Town half. No question they are enjoying much more of the possession. But what they really need right now is a decent chance that might just get them back on level terms. They're stringing together quite a few passes now. Halfway inside the Bournemouth half, Pritchard threading the ball down the right hand side. Ake diving in, wins the ball only at the expense of a throw. Coming up to the hour mark, that goal from Callum Wilson. The only difference between the sides, looks like Grant might be coming on for Town shortly, the striker. Town win another throw as they build slowly. Every outfield player for Bournemouth inside their own half right now. Schindler, the captain for the rest of the season. Low passing field towards Pritchard. Moy just loses out though, and Bournemouth can come away with Sermon. Has to turn away from one challenge. It falls for Moy. Gets away though from Brooks. Brooks tries to win the ball back for Bournemouth. And Schindler's across. Meanwhile on this near side, ahead of Callum Wilson. A throw for Bournemouth. This might be the right time for Huddersfield to make that change. And Meunier, who scored the injury time winner for Town in their last home match, is the one to make way. Acknowledging the crowd. But it's been another disappointing afternoon for him, as Karlan Grant comes on then for Huddersfield Town after 61 minutes. Bournemouth. Coming forward now with Daniels, gets the ball back, finding Lerma with Daniels again. As Taylor just wants Town just to come back a few yards to take the throw down the right hand side. As Moy tries to lift the ball towards Grant. Now with Bakuna, short towards Moy, trying to play intricate football in very contested spaces at times, Huddersfield, but they have won a free kick. This time Wilson fouling Bakuna. Possibly a chance for Town to do something with this set piece. Moy runs up, swings it in towards the penalty box, headed away though by King. And swinging again inside the area. Mepham heads it away. The charge down shot though by Pritchard. Only falls towards Moy on the far side, down the right. It's up against Fraser. Checks his run. Swings the ball in. Headed out by Ake. Falls kindly now for King. Tearing forward. He's got options left and right. Possibly should have dispatched it sooner. Bakuna running towards the near side touchline. Keeps the ball in play. But only straight towards Brooks, who gives the ball away himself. Towards Schindler. Moy. Inside the centre circle. And it's out for a throw on the far side. For Bournemouth. 63 minutes gone then. It's now Brooks. Might possibly need some attention. As looks like Solanke, who was a doubt for this game, might be coming on. Brooks, of course, has only just come back recently from injury, although he did start against Manchester City. So Dominic Solanke is expected to come on then. For Bournemouth after 64 minutes. The signing from Liverpool then. So we're not sure at the moment if Brooks is actually going to be the one, but he is. So Brooks is coming off. That may just be a precaution. So Eddie Howe, needless to say, might just have to rejig his formation slightly. And that must clearly be a sign that Eddie Howe is certainly not happy with Bournemouth just resting on a 1-goal lead. Schindler with a low ball towards Long. Bournemouth almost win the ball back through Solanke near the halfway line. Pritchard busy as ever, wins it back to Town though. Infield towards Bakuna. Bakuna low pass towards Pritchard, threads it through to Moy. Moy tries to shoot, he cannons off the chest of Sermon and falls kindly now for King. Across though is Bakuna, wins the ball, but I don't think he's won the throw. No, he hasn't. A throw for Bournemouth. Well, after quite an energetic start to the second half, it's drifted along the second half. Few chances. In fact, I don't recall either keeper making a save at all. A great pass through though towards Wilson, gets it back towards Fraser. 2-0 for Bournemouth, and the two players who combined for the first goal have combine once again for the second. Only this time, Wilson is the provider for Fraser, who strokes the ball into the empty net. Huddersfield Town 0, Bournemouth 2. And Fraser was in so much space inside the area to convert the chance. Wonderful reverse pass from Wilson. And ghosting in, almost enjoying the space of the entire box, was Fraser to slot the ball beyond Lursel. First time, right-footed, bottom corner. 2-0 for Bournemouth then. And not that we really saw much of a sign that Huddersfield Town were coming back into this game, but now that the home side are 2-0 down, there's very little prospect at this stage of Town coming back into this game, the way the game has panned out so far. Bournemouth have done enough at times to see off the team that will still prop up the Premier League this evening. Huddersfield Town manfully though come forward with Pritchard. He hasn't given up all afternoon, but across his Lerma, low passing field, lovely cushioned layoff from King towards Solanke, and now Bournemouth are surging forward again with King just outside the area, burst inside, great save by Lursel. And that could easily have been 3 from King that time. Fantastic save from Lursel to deny him. But Bournemouth come forward again with Klein. Pokes the ball through towards Solanke. Almost gets around Lursel. Forced wide. Ball comes back towards Klein. And he blasts it over the bar. But Bournemouth in the last 2 or 3 minutes are almost queuing up to score. And that time it was Klein with a chance. King with the first effort producing a great save from Lursel. And then Klein from 6 yards out, 6-7 yards out, under pressure, it has to be said, blasts over the bar. Town at the moment are just foraging for loose scraps. 68 minutes gone. Wherever you're listening in the world, tweet us at live, at TalkSport Live, I should say. TalkSport Live, tweet us. You're listening to Premier League Live at the John Smith Stadium. Cries of offside against Kachunga. Play continues though. The cross in. Headed away only partially by Sermon. Back towards Pritchard. Now with Durham. Swings the ball in. But drifts wide. Well, I initially thought Durham was the man going off at the start of the second half for Lowe, but this, that was not the case. Just looking at some of the Huddersfield Town fans looking very disgruntled, really. It's been a tough season for them. Their second season in the Premier League. And there's just no way back from this, you feel. Bournemouth 2 up and looking for another. Lerma inside the centre circle. Short and square finds Klein towards Solanke. Towering over Stankovic, but Town win it back with Moy. As Kachunga runs down the middle. Isn't picked out. Goes towards Billing instead. Straight towards Mapham. Short ball towards King. Gets around Stankovic, who slips. Runs forward now through the middle towards Solanke. It was just overhit though. As Lursel tries to get things moving quickly again, finding Moy, but Town are still inside their own half. heading for that club record. In fact, they would be equaling a club record of the most home defeats in the league, which currently stands at 12. But Town do have a corner as the rain begins to fall inside the stadium. Could this possibly be the start of a comeback for the home team? Something that might just get the home fans back on their feet, who have been very quiet since that bright start to the second half. Lowe will bend the ball in towards a 6-yard box, headed away by Ake. Bakuna towards Moy on the edge of the area down this left hand side. Running behind him is Pritchard. Pritchard turns away from Wilson, bends the ball in towards the far post. It's come back in from Jorgensen, but it cannoned off the back of another Town player, and it's gone out for a goal kick. So Bournemouth still lead 2-0, but Pritchard bending that teasing, inviting ball right across the face of the goal. But there wasn't anybody really attacking the ball. Kachunga on the edge of the area, it was ahead of him. And sadly for Town, nothing materialised from the opportunity. As Town are looking at yet another defeat in this campaign. Klein clears just over the halfway line. Schindler gets to it first. Pritchard inside the centre circle towards Durham, lifted forward by Bakuna as Kachunga fights for the ball. And Fraser gets around one man, but across is Kachunga tracking back, and this time Fraser, possibly for the first time in this game, is the guilty party, just sticking out his leg, bringing down Kachunga. Fraser was quick to apologise, and they've just shaken hands. So it's been an unusual season, to say the least, for Bournemouth, because it looks as though they are going to end this wretched run of successive games or successive defeats away from home, which currently stands at 9. They've only won 4 out of their last 19 games in the Premier League, and yet they're 1 point better off than they were last season. Lowe cutting in, but then just plays the ball back into the centre circle towards Schindler, exchanging passes with Jorgensen. Now Stankovic towards Moy, tries to give Klein the slip, but Bournemouth tear forward again, this time with King. Now running inside the box, it crosses towards Wilson, but the ball fell slightly behind him and it just balloons up into the air and straight into the arms of Lursel. Town, with less than 16 minutes to go, trailing 2-0. Moy halfway inside the Bournemouth half, lays it short towards Lowe. Comes in field slightly, back towards Moy as Pritchard drops short. It's lifted long, trapped down well by Durr. Infield towards Stankovic. Great ball in towards Kachunga on the turn. Tries to get a shot away, but it was blocked by Ake. And then Boric tried to prevent the ball going out for a corner, but I don't think he's actually succeeded. But that's the last piece of action we're going to see from Kachunga. He goes off, worked hard up front, but didn't really have an end product. And coming on for him is Aaron Rowe. So he's taken the place of Kachunga. Corner it is then for Huddersfield. Bent in towards the edge of the 6-yard box, it whistles across, but it falls straight towards King at the back post as Moy comes across, tries to block his run, then it's lifted forward towards Mepham, unbelievably, who was the furthest man forward. Lursel comes right off his line and clears as a plastic bag blows across the edge of the pitch on the far side. Bakuna wins the throw, or so he thought, and so I thought too, until Anthony Taylor told him otherwise. And it's the Bournemouth fans who you can hear at the moment. Eddie Howe has lost 3 different managers playing here, but it's unlikely to be a 4th. They are winning by 2-0. Goals from Callum Wilson in the first half, Fraser in the second. And on both occasions, both those players have combined to score those goals. Ake stood on the edge of his own 18-yard line, short towards Daniel, threads it down the line towards Fraser. Back with Ake. Bournemouth, even though they are being put under pressure, managed to work the ball up towards the halfway line. Sliding across though is Schindler, now with Pritchard. Lays the ball off. Oh, and almost a chance for Grant inside the 6-yard box, but he was denied by Mepham, sliding across at the last moment to deny him. Pritchard is finding the pass between 2 Bournemouth players, the angled ball into the area, and it was Grant, right-footed, poking the ball goalwards. In fact, Mepham just did enough to put Grant off because it was a goal kick. So the presence of Mepham was enough to stop Grant. Who joined Huddersfield Town in the last transfer window, coming from Charlton Athletic, where he was the leading goal scorer in League One before his move north. Well, I wonder what Christopher Schindler's thinking. His first game as captain for Huddersfield Town. It's been a tough game for him and for all the other Huddersfield Town players. Low, first time ball over the halfway line towards Pritchard. Drifts the ball wide. He should be kept in by the substitute Rowe down the right hand side. He's got Doe making an overlapping run. The cross comes in, it's behind Grant, and it goes wide. Youngster just coming on. It's a sympathetic round of applause from the home fans. Boruc still hasn't really been tested at all in this game, certainly not in the second half. And the way Town started after half-time, you would have been forgiven for thinking that Town were possibly destined to maybe get something out of this game, but they've faded away. Bournemouth have just got stronger, and they've killed off the contest with that second goal from Fraser. Klein with the throw then on this near side, halfway inside the Town half. Throws it above the head of Moy. Moy battling for it, but it's back with Klein now, running towards the right edge of the box, goes down under a challenge. Stankovic gets it cleared towards Durr. Can't get it over the halfway line. Picked up by Daniels. Now with Sermon. Cushions the pass back to Lerma. Fraser back inside his own half. Almost picks out Grant, but a slip though by Mepham. Town come forward with Grant. Moyes beside him. Finds him now on the left-hand edge of the area. Cuts in, thinks about the shot, now shoots. It cannot off Sermon. Onto the chest of Solanke. Gets the ball away. Lovely exchange between him and Sermon. bounding in though. This time was Lerma. Gets it up towards the halfway line. Then he's back with a flying header towards the far side. Now with Fraser. Hooks it over the halfway line. But Wilson is jostled off the ball. Low. The move breaks down though on the edge of the Bournemouth penalty area. And Smith turns and clears towards King. And the free kick goes against him with Stankovic just appearing to clutch his chest as King was backing into him. Less than 10 minutes to go. You're listening to Premier League Live. And I'm Bernard Chizzy covering the game at the John Smith Stadium between Huddersfield Town and Bournemouth. Bournemouth leading by 2-0 as the free kick comes in. Glances off a couple of players, the last of which must have been a Bournemouth player because it is a throw for Huddersfield Town. Nathan Ake very unhappy with the decision. The ever-present, in fact, he's rolled out for a corner, so even better for Town. Moy raising both arms. He's going to bend the ball in, right-footed towards the far post. Kept in play at the far side by Jorgensen, but Bournemouth do eventually clear. Kept in play by Bakuna with a lovely flick. Drills it in low towards I think it was Jorgensen. Yes, Jorgensen drilling the shot in. But again, Bournemouth clear. Town, at least they're ending the game positively, coming forward. Moy nods the ball, but he nods it goalwards and it goes straight out of play for a goal kick. So despite that scare with the effort coming in from Jorgensen on the far side, Bournemouth have managed to ride out the storm, a brief storm. And Bournemouth are heading for their first away win in the Premier League in the last 10 attempts. Strangely enough, Huddersfield have had more attempts on target. Well, I should say more attempts during the game than Bournemouth, but the all-important statistic is that Bournemouth have scored 2 goals. As now Bakuna gets away from Lerma, threads the ball through towards Grant, but he was overhit. Boric raced right off his line, belying his 39 years, and gets to the ball first and clears right-footed down the middle, well over the halfway line. It's beyond Schindler, who has conceded a free kick. So could Bournemouth wrap up 3 points with their third goal with just over 5 minutes to go? And this free kick will be almost plumb centre, 35 yards out. Klein peeling away to the right. Daniels over the ball, taken short by Surma towards Klein, and he exchanges passes with Fraser. Back towards Fraser once again. Now with Surman. This time Fraser cuts in from the right-hand touchline. Now out on the far side with Wilson. And Fraser joins him on the right-hand side. Wilson goes down, falls to his knees, wins a free kick. And a few more seconds now can be wasted ahead of this free kick for the away side. On 34 points, you think 40 is the magical figure, or at least it usually is. So they will climb to 37 with this win. And it will be their first win on the road away from South East England. Fraser or Daniels. Fraser whips the ball in towards the near post. Ake with a header. Oh, it is at the far post. With the kick goes down. No challenge given though. No penalty. Looked as though Solanke was almost going to get on the end of that free kick to score his first goal for the club. And then King went down. But to be honest, it was a muted appeal. Ake with the header initially for Bournemouth, denied by Town. And now the home side give the ball away near the halfway line. Solanke waits for the ball to drop, then manages to find Fraser, gets away from one challenge, bends the ball in beautifully! Oh, what a goal that would have been! For Josh King, great pass towards Fraser, whose pass was inch perfect for King, running inside the box, but he diverted his volley wide. Town still coming forward. Pritchard eager as ever. If only Town had a few more players like Pritchard in their side. I think he's been superb today. And the first to run for the ball is Pritchard. Gives it to Lowe. Now Grant with Pritchard again. Skipping away down this left-hand side towards Rowe with his back to goal. Plays it back now and finds Jorgensen. Back to Rowe again. Everyone back for Bournemouth, camped on the edge of their area, as now they try to make their way through. It's Grant on the edge of the area. The ball breaks free, and Bournemouth just doing their job defensively, and they clear. At least Mousse is going to be the final change for Bournemouth then. Very, very shortly. Almost a chance for Town to break inside the box, but they do win a corner inside the final minute as Daniels, laid on the turf, stretches his legs, might just have a touch of cramp. So Lowe will bend this one in towards the 6-yard box. Borash just does enough to clear with his fist. Back towards Lowe again on the edge of the box. Bends the ball in, headed away, this time by Meppen. And then turning inside his own area is Josh King. But his clearance struck the hand of Moy, who's been booked. So the referee obviously thought that was deliberate handball from Moy. The third player to be booked for Huddersfield Town. So Mousse has come on. Just want to see who is actually replaced. Has a substitution been made? It's being made now. It's Josh King. Josh King is coming off only moments earlier. Could have scored a fantastic third for Bournemouth. And now we have 3 minutes of added time to be played then. Mousse on. Made his first Premier League start against Arsenal and scored at the Emirates as well in that 5-1 defeat for Bournemouth. But they're not going to lose today. Here's Lerma. Low ball towards Musay. Has possession now. Up against Stankovic. Drifts towards the right-hand side. The ball now inside the box with Klein, who spins and turns towards Solanke. But they should clear now. Town through Low. Only straight onto the chest of Lerma. Now with Fraser, who's been magnificent today for Bournemouth. Cut out by Jorgensen. To his right. Finds Durham. His clearance partially deflected. And now Grant up against no fewer than 3 Bournemouth players. Tries to take them all on, but he doesn't succeed. And it really has been a frustrating afternoon for Huddersfield Town, falling to another defeat on their patch. Grant with a flick almost gets inside the box, but he's forced away from the area now, down the right hand side, battling with Daniels, wins a corner. So Town in the final minutes of injury time could at least grab a consolation goal with what might be the final piece of action in the first half. Low again to bend this one in towards the near post, towards Jorgensen, who tried to flick the ball across goal. Back with Low again, outside the area, bends the ball in, headed upwards, this time by Klein. Still inside the area. Bournemouth eventually clear. Through Ake. Clears, but doesn't get much distance. It's all rather scrappy at the moment, but it's back with Pritchard. Tries to dig the ball towards Schindler. Stood on the edge of the area as Bournemouth end a wretched run of 9 consecutive away defeats in the Premier League. They have beaten Huddersfield Town by 2-0, thanks to goals from Callum Wilson in the first half and Ryan Fraser in the second. They must now be probably just one more win away from survival. But for Huddersfield Town, they have slumped to their 12th defeat of the season at home, and they still drop the table. It's finished Huddersfield Town 0, Bournemouth 2. And now let's return to what's going to be the full-time show from St Mary's with John Anderson and Dave Kitson.
Point gap between the relegation places. Tottenham Hotspur remains third, but the likes of Manchester United, Arsenal and Chelsea can all cut the gap with games tomorrow. Horror show from Tottenham in the end. Harry Kane gave them a lead on 26 minutes with a well-taken goal. Southampton equalised 14 minutes from time. Jan Valeri scrambling in before James Ward-Prowse's magnificent free kick made it 2-1. It's not over yet at St James's Park. Let's go there and get the final stages. Newcastle-Everton, Andrew Self.
Side, heads of the box, Gomez tries to get on it, Rondon that clears. Kennedy and Lookman go shoulder to shoulder. Throw to Everton. What a game we've had here. It could be now or never for Everton. Digne will launch this into the Newcastle penalty area. Near post header by Mina, headed away by Yedlin, only as far as Gomez. Gomez square now to Zuma. Zuma tries to stand it up for Walcott. Walcott heads it into the box, headed away by Florent Lejeune. 10 seconds of the 5 to be added, still to go. Ball goes away on the far side. Zuma thinks it's an Everton throw, it's not. We're into time added on. At the end of the time added on now, the whistle goes. Well, you don't want to use cliches, but in a game of 2 halves, it really was a game of 2 halves. At the break, Newcastle had missed a penalty and conceded 2 goals to Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison, and really didn't look as though they could muster a fight. But you always fancied that they needed a third. They never got the third, and in the second half, Newcastle came storming back. First goal was put in by Solomon Rondon after good play.
Well, what a comeback by Newcastle United. What a comeback by Southampton, who at St Mary's, as the fans stand and applaud, the players, interestingly, in a huddle there. They didn't go into the sanctuary of the dressing room. Ralph Hasenhüttl called them all together. They were in a circle. The manager was giving them an inspirational speech. Anything from a game like this, a bonus. But to pick up all 3 points against Tottenham Hotspur, particularly on a day when rivals have also won games, victories for Cardiff and Brighton and Newcastle, this was a massively important win for the Saints.
It's huge. I mean, if any, the sad thing is really for them is that they've had to beat Spurs at home to stand still, given what's happened with Cardiff. But that's how important it is. And Burnley going to Anfield tomorrow, that's a massive game for Burnley, and as it is for Liverpool. But credit to Southampton, they really came out. They could have crumbled after that 1-0 down home to Spurs at half time, and they went for it. They absolutely went for it. And Hasenhüttl, all credit to him, because he made the subs. He realised the importance and the significance of this game, given what was happening elsewhere. He made those subs, and they deserve what they got in the end, I think.
Yeah, they certainly did. So the situation is, forget Fulham and Huddersfield, they're down, they both lost today. Cardiff are 18th with 28 points. Burnley drop into 17th with 30, but they play Liverpool tomorrow. Southampton rise above Burnley into 16th with 30 points from 30 games. Newcastle's last gasp win against Everton brings them up to 15th. They've got 32 points. Brighton earlier beat Crystal Palace to lift themselves up to 14th with 33, level on points with Palace. So effectively from 13th to 18th you've got 5 points separating 6 teams, of whom probably one will go down. It couldn't be finer, could it? And who would you bet on now?
Well, I'll tell you something else as well. If I was a Brighton player on the coach home from Crystal Palace, I'd be looking at the 3 results that have just come in, thinking, my goodness me, what a result that was against Crystal Palace. I mean, it's an absolute coupon buster what's happened today. Brighton, Newcastle, Southampton and Cardiff all winning.
Yes.
I mean, that's why we love the Premier League, isn't it? But if you're a Spurs fan, you'd have to be thinking, what has just happened there?
It was bizarre. My thanks to Dave Kidson there. Great stuff. Extraordinary comeback, extraordinary result, really. And, it just makes the bottom of the table so interesting now. At the top of the table, Arsenal and Manchester United will be licking their lips ahead of their big game at the Emirates tomorrow. I'll be there with Paul Parker to bring you that one. And Tottenham, well, they're going backwards. 2 points now, 1 point from the last 4 Premier League games. They are beginning to look in real bother for Southampton. The other advantage they have over the 4 teams below them is goal difference. -16, Burnley -21, Cardiff -30. What a day for the Saints. They go marching on. Tottenham with another setback. I'm John Anderson. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy the rest of the Premier League weekend. You're listening to Premier League Live. Repeat of some of the games that some of the action from this Southampton game, but who would have predicted when Harry Kane scored on 26 minutes, his 25th goal of the season and his 200th as a club and international footballer, that Southampton would get themselves back into the game. Great substitutions by Ralph Hasenhüttl at the interval. He brought on Shane Long, he brought on the very impressive 21-year-old Josh Sims, and eventually he brought on Stuart Armstrong. Armstrong provided the cross from which Jan Valeri made it 1-1, and then a stupendous free kick from James Ward-Prowse. That really is it from me. A very good night. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Premier League preview show with Talk Sport.
Sanchez wants runners. There's 6 players on the edge of the area to aim for. One is Smalling! Unbelievable scene! scenes at the Etihad Stadium. It's 3-2 to Manchester United.
Talk Sports Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
Southampton struggling down the bottom. We're joined by a survivor of their great escape team in 1999, Francis Bernali. Former Bluebirds defender Danny Gavidan joins us on the Premier League preview show.
Subscribe to the podcast today at talksport.com and then hear every kick on Premier League Live.
Oxlade-Chamberlain goes down, but he still finds Salah, who makes it 2 to Liverpool. One chance, one goal, number 20 for the Egyptian magician.
Listen to the show on talksport.com.
Go to talksport.com and sign up now to play the free TalkSport Predictor game. Predict the results of the English Premier League games this season for the chance to win top-flight weekly prizes. From the Gunners getting away goals at Anfield to epic finishes at the Etihad. Click talksport.com/predictor and register now for the chance to go top of the table in the ultimate football fan tournament. The TalkSport English Premier League Predictor game. Available online and for free at talksport.com/predictor.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
A line of bodies along the edge of the 6-yard box. Ericsson just rifles it in, and Harry Kane is there to head in almost on the goal line. More Premier League goals in a calendar year than any other player in history.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Edge of the box is Solanke. Through to Mo Salah! Who scores? Number 32! Mo Salah, the record breaker for Liverpool.
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league. Premier League Live. Brought to you by TalkSport Live.
There's more to life than football, money and fun. Well, not much.
Kick off the new season with TalkSport's £1 million predictor game.
Register now at talksport.com/predictor and play for free throughout the season.
Play it in the van. Play it on the can. Play it with your gran.
Win £1 million sterling.
It's the biggest prize in the history of TalkSport.
The TalkSport £1 million predictor game. Players must be 18 or over. See talksport.com/predictor for full conditions. Premier League Live with TalkSport.
Welcome, you're listening to the Premier League Live. I'm your host, John Anderson. Coming up, we've got full coverage of Manchester City and Watford, the final game of a hugely eventful Saturday in the Premier League. It started with Brighton and Hove Albion beating Crystal Palace. We've had wins for Cardiff at home to West Ham, and amazing comeback. Southampton from a goal down at Tottenham to win against Tottenham to win 2-1. Even more impressively, Newcastle were trailing Everton 2-0 with 25 minutes to go and ended up winning 3-2. The two bottom clubs take a further step towards relegation. Leicester beating Fulham 3-1 and Huddersfield losing 2-0 at home to Bournemouth. But coming up, can Manchester City extend their lead at the top of the table? They're at home to Watford, and our man with the team news is Tom Rennie.
John, thank you. Manchester City aiming for a 6th successive Premier League victory. The visitors Watford looking for a 4th win in 5 top-flight fixtures. The teams somewhat surprising for City, maybe less so. Kevin De Bruyne, we knew he'd missed out with a hamstring problem and doesn't play in this one. Fernandinho continues to be out as well. Mahrez and Vincent Kompany are the two men that come in for Stones and De Bruyne from last week. But it's Watford where all the surprises are for me. Now, of course, they've got that massive FA Cup quarter-final in 7 days' time, but we didn't expect 7 changes from Javi Gracia today. Out go Mariappa, Cathcart, Holebas, Hughes, Pereira, Dini and Delafeu, and in come, well, quite frankly, everybody else. Most notably, though, I suppose, Kiko Femenia, who's been out for quite some time, is back in the starting lineup and looks to me like he'll be playing on the right wing in that 4-2-2-2 formation that Javi Gracia prefers. Lots of people think this will be an easy win for Man City, as they always seem to be, but they've not been in great form in recent times, and if anyone is going to pick some points up in a game like this, it may well be Watford. But now with this team, John, quite frankly, I have no idea what we're going to see.
No, but I can understand and sympathise entirely with Javi Gracia, because Watford are entirely safe in the Premier League. They've got 43 points, they're 8th. Yes, there's a battle going on for 7th place and potential Europe, but you can get into Europe by winning the FA Cup, and I think it's a case of a manager concentrating on the Cup. He made big changes in Cup games earlier in the season, but now I think he's going to put out his full team against Palace. I would applaud that.
But you're absolutely right in some ways. You can see why he would have rested those players, but John, it's 7 days away. It's a full week away. It's not on Wednesday, it's not on Tuesday, it's 7 days away. I've rarely seen a time where a team have dropped this many players and it's worked the following week. I think it's a massive risk from Javi Gracia. And look, let's put it another way. They're in the FA Cup quarter-final. Fantastic opportunity, sure. However, they are just behind Wolverhampton Wanderers in that race for 7th. Watford have not been in Europe since you were in short trousers. For them just to give up on the league and give up on a game like this, I find absolutely bizarre. And I was seeing the teams coming with Steve Lomas, who's going to be alongside me for this game in just a few minutes, former City captain, of course. He saw those teams, he saw those 7 changes, and he said what many football fans will be saying right around the world. I hope City absolutely hump them from this point, dropping players and essentially disregarding a Premier League game. I think it's massively disrespectful to the entire competition.
I don't know. I think he's being respectful to the FA Cup. Personally, I was actually in long trousers the last time Watford were in Europe. It was
your fashion choices, John.
82, 83. But anyway, quite aside from all of, what about the City team? The problem, the thing about City is, and I mean, Watford, to be fair, they did respect the Premier League against Liverpool, and they got tanked 5-0. So then their record against the likes of Liverpool and City has been consistently appalling. As a Watford supporter, I make no bones about it. I'm happy with the team selection. I don't care.
Well, it's funny because
6-0 to
they've got all those changes for their cup game in a few days. Man City have got a cup game in 4 days against Schalke in the Champions League, and yet they've played pretty. We've got considered trickling in now, so I can see Matt and Andrews, the other two. And we're out of now 12, yeah. So because we're about 9 seconds late, I don't know if we'll get them all out, but we'll see how we get on.
Callum Wilson scored on his comeback from injury to give Bournemouth a comfortable win against bottom club Huddersfield. Under the watchful eye of England manager Gareth Southgate, he chested in his 50th goal for the club at the back post after a terrific run and cross from Ryan Fraser. Then Wilson turned provider with a cutback for Fraser, who had almost the freedom of the entire box to slot past Lursel. Huddersfield offered virtually nothing, with Boruc forced into just one save. They've now equalled a club record for the most home defeats in a season. It's finished Huddersfield Town 0, Bournemouth 2.
Chance they might be able to look at 7, they lose the game.
How are you?
That's their worst performance all season by a huge margin. That's down there. That was actually worse than the Wimbledon game. No. At least they scored a fucking goal in that game. Today was worse than that. I can't understand it.
How are you doing? You alright?
Alright.
A bit fatter than I used to be.
How you doing?
I'm alright.
I've just done one. I've done they were just so poor with this game. The work the best player though, Steve, I thought was Pritchard. Was terrific.
Yeah, it's a nice shot for it catches the eye.
Well, fantastic Saturday of action in the Premier League, and well, some of the bottom clubs doing themselves a big favour. One of whom was Cardiff City, who were playing West Ham today, desperately needed a win.
What's he producing? Are you playing as number 10, did he? Did he give him a wee bit of freedom?
He did give him a bit of freedom.
Listen, he works hard and he tries to get on it.
But he was very hungry.
And
he was the only one. Well, he wasn't the only one, but I think he was the one they were looking to make things happen.
I'm just trying to think where he could have gone in the Premier League. Could he? Bournemouth, maybe a little Bournemouth take something like him.
I could see whoever's going up.
Yeah.
Could he go back to Norwich?
Yeah.
Or a club like Norwich?
Yeah. Yeah, I think make a better fist of what Huddersfield did. I just think they're wrong, and they should have just kept the manager, shouldn't they? You know what I mean? Bringing same sort of formula, bringing in another.
Newcastle
against work twice in a run as well. You know what I mean? He looks at this, and at the end of the day, he's got fuck all to work with. You know, it's a bit unfair on him.
I'm surprised he took the job.
Well, yeah, but I suppose listen, many teams going to get offered a Premier League job at any stage.
If you can, please,
You know, how long do you wait? You know, as a basically reserve team manager.
It's not going to be.
No.
It's not going to be a Premier League manager much longer, is it?
Yeah. Well, I can't see them keeping him, can you? In the Championship.
Well,
who knows?
I really can't see them just coming back.
No.
It's not going to happen.
I think they're one of their team that wants to go down. That's it for a while. They're not there. And you know, look at the big teams that went down how hard it is to get back leagues. How long it's taking leagues? You know, and they're fucking that massive club.
So are you about to do with Newcastle?
We talked to Tom, so we've got a little change in that. You know, you do your crap now, fucking some cunt has 7 changes.
Okay.
Winning goal for Brighton. Huge win. Huddersfield Town seemingly doomed. They were beaten 2-0 by AFC Bournemouth at home.
You know what happened? If fucking rest all these players, 2 or 3 of them are fucking injured and that's what happens. That's what happens. The fucking mad things happen. They try and get too clever, and then they get fucking injured and training.
When Floyd Ayita equalised 6 minutes into the second half, but a Jamie Vardy double has given Leicester victory there. And Southampton, in my game, finishing 2-1 winners against Tottenham Hotspur. That's it from me. Enjoy the rest of the evening. We've got Manchester City against Watford coming up. You're listening to Premier League Live.
There we go. No, well, what are you going to do, mate? That's all fine. Thanks very much. No, it's fine, mate.
One of those days where hello, Steve. Nice to see you, mate. Yeah, I'm good. 7 changes for Watford. You should be all right.
You know what happened? Yes, I do. Left wing on the graveyard.
Come on, mate. Get yourself left wing, mate.
When I was like young kid, I used to put me in the graveyard.
You should be in the middle, mate. Boiler room. Engine room. Water carrier.
The old graveyard was all big.
I've never seen him drink water, mate.
It wasn't as bad as when I was a kid. We had to play rugby. It'd be like minus 17 and there'd be hailstones and you'd be on the wing. The ball would never get me on the fly off because someone would drop it and would touch the ball all game. Have a good one. Cheers.
I'm really gutted about them 7 changes. I was looking forward to this. Now I just want to go home. mean, Javier Hernandez, I'm sorry, I can't see this anymore. He ain't going to be there next year. Let's stop playing him. He's utterly pointless to play. You can't press that. I thought it might make 3 or 4. Sure, 3 or 4 for a game like this, but this is only survivors. Costa. Yammer. City got a cup game Tuesday. Like, they're playing the strongest team, and they're Man City. I don't get it. How are they so rubbish? How are they so rubbish? What happened? Javier Hernandez, Steve. Come on. Do one.
It wouldn't be for me, mate.
The better sticking a burrito up front. You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Manchester City against Watford from the Etihad Stadium. I'm your host Tom Rennie. Alongside me is the former West Ham and City captain Steve Lomas. This is Premier League Live. Manchester City are hitting top form just at the right moment. The expensive, well-oiled Guardiola machine has needed occasional repair this campaign, but what we have now is a points-guzzling, trophy-hunting contraption, the likes of which we have never seen in this country. They have won 9 of their last 10 and 5 in a row, just as Liverpool have had a potentially disastrous breakdown. It's Watford who stand in the way today. They're in pretty decent form themselves, having won 3 of their past 4. However, it's games like these the Hornets often come unstuck in, as the recent thumping at the hands of the Reds showed us all. Do Javi Grazia's men still have juice in the tank, or are they happy to coast to the end of this season in the league with a cup quarter-final to come next week? Well, the answer to that is surely in the team news. I want to start with Watford because they have made 7 changes from last weekend. Algo Mariappa, Kafka, Olivan, Pereira, Dini and Delafeu, some real attacking talent in great form, not playing today. The only survivors are Vittori and Cafu. Everyone else is safe from last week. The full 11 is been positive. Noah Van Gaal, and Daryl Yanmat. Vittori and Cafu captain the side in the centre midfield. Keep their back from injury plays at Beverly and up front. Specifically, though, De Bruyne is out injured, replaced by Riyad Mahrez. Company comes in with Everton Nicole, back forward, Zinchenko, Otamendi, Company and Kyle Walker. Midfield trio, Gundogan, who continues to overcome Fernandinho, with the 2 Silvers, David and Bernardo alongside. And up front is Mahrez, Aguero and Raheem Sterling. Think you know that with me. How are you, mate? Very well. Let's talk about the amount of changes Watford have made. Now, City are in Champions League action on Tuesday, and they've made 2 enforced changes. Watford got a game in 7 days, and they've rested pretty much the entire first 6.
Well, first of all, really cheesed off. Did me prep no good, but obviously I'm
No one believes you did the prep, Steve.
But obviously Watford is great continuity up to this team. Obviously plays as well as eggs in one basket with a cup game. But I'm surprised. I've got to say, if I'm a player, I want to play week in, week out. Like you said, it's not next Saturday. And let's have it right. When you start tinkering these little things, the team flex and try and get too clever, you end up getting injuries in training through the week, and you get 2 or 3 people out through that. So I can understand it. They're safe. It's got a massive game, cup game. But for me, if I'm a player, if I'm Troy Deeney, Delafeu, Craig Campbell, all that, I want to play week in, week out.
What about Manchester City? Of course, they have got the game against Schalke coming up, but they are top of the table in the Premier League. They want to win it all. They've got the capability to win it all. Recent times, though, they've not been great, have they?
They've been finding the way at times. They've looked like they're hitting top form, and then they'll have a little stutter, but they're picking up points no matter what way. Whether they play well, they pick them up. Whether they play poorly, they find a way. So it really is. It looks for me, and I think the key game, definitely, I've said it all along, was the time that they beat Liverpool at home, and ever since then they've just kicked on, and like I said, a points guzzling machine.
Kevin De Bruyne is out today, injured last week. He's had such a hit this season with form and injury and whatnot. Riyad Mahrez, the man who comes in to replace him, he has been, I think it's fair to say, much criticised across this season, but in recent weeks, maybe it's just been playing. He has shown a little glimmer of form.
Well, he has been hitting this as well, and you never get a better opportunity with De Bruyne out to really forge on. But Sané's been the one that's really probably covered for De Bruyne more than Riyad Mahrez. But obviously he's got an opportunity, like I said.